Hey, aloha. Welcome to Korean Natural Farming Office Hours. And we're here today. Well, wherever you are, maybe you're ahead of me. Sounds like someone's down in New Zealand. They're already on Monday. But wherever you are, whenever you're watching this, right here, right now, it's Sunday, October 16th, 9 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. Time for the KNF Office Hour. And thank you for tuning in. Thanks for making the world a better place. Thanks for uplifting, everyone around you and doing your best to be a better person and learn more about the microbes, more about these systems, more about these things that truly making a difference, if only a tiny difference, that a bunch of tiny differences make a huge difference. So, and not that it has to be subtractive to make a difference, but cumulative, just like other things. So today is difficulty at the beginning, number 3. And if we persevere, a great success is at hand. The literal translation of chun is a blade of grass pushing up against an obstacle as it sprouts out of the earth. It's amazing chun means that. Because in English, things don't mean that same thing, but chun is a blade of grass pushing up against an obstacle as it sprouts out of the earth. Receiving this hexagram is a sign that beyond the difficulties and pressures that surround you, a success lies in waiting. In order to bring it fully into the light, you must be patient and persevere in non-action. No matter how fervently one desires to resolve a situation, to intervene impatiently now will only hinder the progress of good fortune. Accept and bear with the discomfort of chaos, without attempting to push it away. Allow it to clear of its own accord in its own time. And the only way of ensuring a subsequent blossoming of success. Hold to proper principles in your actions. Seek and respect the counsel of the sage. Allow those whose hearts are true to assist you wherever possible. Be tolerant of all others. In this way, the blessing that now lies hidden will come into the open. So it's a pretty good one. It's pretty fitting, talking about the chaos going around, talking about persevering in non-action. Very natural farming type of thing to do. Not trying to force completion, but trying to set up conditions so that success will be imminent and inevitable, right? Not trying to force the soil. I'm going to put all the nutrients in there right now. It's more of I'm going to create the conditions for the microbes to expand, to reach out to the roots, to feed them, to create this situation where life is going to thrive, right? It's a very kind of I Ching, to say the least, Asian type of practice. That being Korean natural farming and coming out of Japan. Gotta open the window. It's a bit hot here. Hawaii. But yeah, so difficulty at the beginning, and also Korean natural farming, of all the things you gotta learn to get started. I was talking about it the other day with my wife, and we're talking about the, expansion of natural farming and the typical ways that things are done, where it's usually you'll go to some presentation of some sort of technology or some sort of thing, and then at the end they pitch you on how to buy it, right? And how to here's our product line, and get our magazine, and subscribe here, and here's this sales officer. And it's always, it seems like you're always educational presentations are just marketing ploys in disguise, right? And just like YouTube these days, you tune in and you watch some episode, and it's just a cleverly disguised ad for Brilliant or something. I don't know. It tends to be the YouTubes I watch. People try to advertise Brilliant or some other, whatever they're selling. Not that I'm, But the thing, in KNF, it's like you get to the end of the learning and it's like, and now you got to do it, right? It's not like, oh, here, just buy this stuff and, we're selling you this marketing stuff. It's like, you got to do it, right? So the difficulty at the beginning of learning and then having to do this stuff, but once you do it, you feel so connected, so integrated, so empowered, so sovereign. So, not just like I'm selling you something you got to continually buy and buy and buy, but like that we're open source giving recipes to be like, hey, you learned all this and now you can do it, right? So it's a little bit different, and I think it's hindered the thing because it's just out of the norm. What people are most useful is knowledge, right? And so it's, it's a challenge, difficulty at the beginning, and today too, made it to the office just in time for the office hour. Usually I'm in here about 15 minutes before getting prep, but I was over uploading some files, which I was going to share today. Last week I did a presentation, but before I get into that, I should acknowledge the folks that are here. Finally got it so the live chat shows up on the pre-recorded or the extra recorded content and stuff. So that's good. And want to just shout out to Brandon here from New Zealand. I'm not sure if he's from New Zealand, but he's in New Zealand on the other side of the date line, and it's Monday. What's up, man? You're in the future. How does it look out there? Should we do anything to prepare? It's like, it's funny because it's all happening right now. Infinite eternity is now, right? That's a trip to go and meditate on. But he wanted some advice on combating California thistles. And in his paddocks where it's starting to show areas of weaker grass, and that's where it's appearing. And he says he always understands that in good soil, the biology makes thistle unavailable. What's the quickest route to that biology? That would be great. So to answer this, we did a fireweed study here. There's this invasive called fireweed, which let me see if I can pull it up here and show you. It kills cattle. And let me just see. I should look for it through the images here to see which one it is. See if it actually shows up. Seems my internet. Oh, okay, the internet is going, and it looks like they're showing me this blue thing. But this is it. Here it is. So let me switch this over. Hang on. This one here. So this here is the fireweed, and it looks like it's spread to Coombs, wherever that is in Canberra. It looks like that's Australia. But if you look at the pictures up here of these other fireweeds that I see here, they're kind of these blue things, and this is not what I'm talking about. But this is, and so let's see here if I can click on it, and this is it here. It's this beautiful yellow flower, and it looks gorgeous. It's, but however, it's inedible to cows and livestock, and it's spreading in pastures. So I'm going to click on here and just try and, or actually that was the scientific name right there. Let's see if I can copy that, paste this, see what the internet gives me. And here, pull up the Wikipedia as if that's a credible source. Yeah, and it has been included in the noxious weed list for Hawaii and the reject list for Australia, right? So it and then here, I'll pull this over so you guys can see it too. Let's see here, bring this window over, and then make it a bit bigger. And you can see this toxicity here. So it contains some alkaloid and it's poisonous to horses, cattle, and livestock are at risk. Poisoning from fireweed is gradual weight loss, jaundice, fluid in the lungs, blindness, and sudden death without any other indications. Aimless wandering, muscular coordination, twitching of the muscles, abdominal straining, rectal prolapse, and irritability. So Number one, if you have a bunch of it, go harvest it, harvest a bunch of this, and then boil it down and make a pesticide out of it, right? It sounds like if you spray this fireweed on other things, you can make the Jadam pesticide. So number one is, turn your problem into a solution. But number two is that if it's growing, it tends to favor a more bacterial-oriented environment. So if you're looking to get rid of this, which I assume the other thistle is similar, which is, a huge assumption here, but if it's just creeping into pastures where grass is weaker, number one thing you can do that's cheap and easy is to put a bunch of seawater out there, which increases the minerals, which helps to strengthen the other grasses, but it may also strengthen this thistle. Number two is to do what this dude that I really try not to mention because he's done some really wicked things to me, but he is a natural farming innovator, and you've probably watched movies from him out there. But I really try not to talk about him because I try not to talk about people that are wicked. But let me see if I can find him on my channel. And I really try not to promote this dude. So let's see. But here it is. Here, and let me pause this and transition it over. And I'm not, I'll take one for the team. I'll show him on this here because he's out there, and it's not like I'm trying to suppress or anything. I just he's done some really wicked things. So but here he is talking about what he did for bioremediation, and he did a fireweed trial, and this so and this is when I used to run the Korean natural farming meetings in Hilo, have like 40, 50 people show up, fill this whole building up. Like, look how many folks would come out. And he talked about this fireweed pasture thing that he did. And basically what he did is he tilled the field and then put down IMO 4 into the field. So, so I'm not sure if he I don't know. You got to actually listen to it because he definitely, I think he disked the field is what he did. He disked it, and then he threw out IMO 4, and then he did the maintenance solution, the soil foundation solution on top of it. And then, he, so anyway, if you are interested and you want to go to that, I would say check this out here. I'll put this link in the comments, but you can always, I'm just going to put it in the comments right here, right now, and then that'll be there for you. So if you're dealing with any other kind of things like that, and you want to learn, you can learn a lot from this guy. Not gonna say that he's not good at natural farming. Just other personal character type stuff. It's been a journey, and talk about somebody that yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna mention it here. I really try to stay away from the drama and all that stuff that happened in the past. Moving on, building great community. And so happy to see you guys. Maybe this is part of the difficulty in the beginning. It was extremely difficult what he did there, and just, oh my God. Anyway, now I'm onto that and thinking about all this, and it really brings up some just tragic feelings of like, I really feel like we had a great global natural farming movement going in 2018, and then boom, it was set back from just some really poor choices from some people that really made some really poor choices. And I've been just trying my best, continuing to do, forge forward, build community, share, love, give, not try to put other people down, not try to cut them in the back, not try to, just trying to build everything. So anyway, if you get to know me or you come here, I'll tell you the full story, but I try not to talk about things out there. And let's get back to this chat. I'm just going to move on from that, okay? And what's up, Cicely? And coming from Western Australia, Arkansas coming out, Long Island, New York. Man, we got a global community here. Thomas in Florida, I know where you're at. Well, I don't know exactly where you're at, but hopefully things are doing okay in Florida these days, man. I really hope. And like Cav says, don't forget to like, comment, share, and show some love. You know, it helps the algorithm, but what really helps me is doing it, spreading it to somebody, growing something great, making a difference in the world. Super chats. Thanks, Jennifer. Woo, super chats always help too. Throwing a $20 my way. Of course, 30% of that goes to Google. But appreciate that. The things live here always help out. And since my mom also mentioned it, she's like, "You're gonna promote your class, right?" So I also, if you go to knffarm.com right now, what also somewhat helps me, although it really helps you, and this is a great opportunity for you because it's a lot of work for me, but I love doing this, is you can come here to Hawaii and there's a few classes, a few open spots left. I already got some great people signed up for the courses, but you can come here to Hawaii, spend 1 week and 2 extra days here on the farm with me, my wife, my family, doing natural farming, seeing what we got going, learning the solutions, learning the application, truly getting a mastery in this of, level 1 of understanding exactly how to apply it, level 2 of mastering the solutions, and level 3 of becoming a sweet mentor to go out and teach and promulgate this in your area with the full backing of the Peer KNF Foundation and our certification, and get the book and hang out. And if you're curious, is it dumpy? Heck no. Look at the place you get to stay. Beautiful rainbows, beautiful place to stay here. It's really worth it. If you just pay this much to come to have a vacation on this farm, you're winning. But also we get to do all the IMOs, do an IMO bath, what else? All the things, all the solutions. You get to taste, smell, feel, touch, understand, get more than you ever bargained for. I tell you, it is a whirlwind learning of everything. So come ready, come hungry. We'll cook you farm fresh food, and be ready for that. So if you do want to sign up right here, KNF Farm, it's January 6th through the 12th, 2023, which is wild. 2023 is going to be quite a wild ride. So if you're worried about the apocalypse like I am, you need this information, trust me, because wherever you go, we're going to be de-energized over the next 20 years. And if you have low energy, high yield, low input technology that you can grow wherever you're at, you're going to thrive. And so knffarm.com, sign up now, get into the class. It's pretty limited on how many people I can accommodate on the farm. I think there's like 1 space left, or maybe 1 or 2 spaces left for the farm. And you can go to the training and get all that. So do check that out, since my mom told me to mention that, because it's always like, here I am and I expect people to find it, but you got to tell people. And then, so it's all good. So anyway, hope that helps out everybody here. Trying my best, man. Really am. Also, we got a brand new little puppy. You can hang out with her. She's sweet. Just dewormed her and didn't use a natural method. I probably coulda, shoulda, woulda. But man, it's like once the worms get too established, it's like ivermectin is your friend. So I'm going to answer the living man here. And he says, so what would be the best to get my IMO collection from local woods where the habitat is trash, or better to travel 2 hours to get the collection from the state forest? I would recommend you do both, actually. I would recommend you get it from your indigenous area. Even if you think it's trash, there are still indigenous microbes there struggling, trying their best, and you can get a collection there. And then also maybe going to your state forest and getting that as well. And then, keep those 2 batches when you make an IMO 3, combine them both in there and make multiple collections. If you watched a couple weeks ago, Julia shared with us her videos where she set like 8 boxes out around her area and got just amazing collections, so much diversity, and mixed them together and got that. So it's really, I would say go get both. Like, and if you even think it's a trash environment, there's still microbes there. They're still struggling. Find the richest, best area, least disturbed area within that. But even in a city, like in Los Angeles, I was in Santa Monica with my aunt. She's like, there's nowhere to grab. I'm like, right here under this tree. There's all kinds of areas. Like microbes are resilient, they're hanging out, they're everywhere, and they're doing it. So, sup, Cullen? Good to see you here. Glad you could make it. Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna try. Yeah, and then Eyewitness answered you here too. Yeah, and then that's exactly what I said. See, you know why? Because Thomas came here and he took the natural farming training and he learned, and now he's like that adept that he knows what's up, right? And he's out there teaching. I hope you're teaching, man. He was threatening to teach, so I think he is out there doing it, enlightening these Florida folks of sharing just these recipes, man, and sharing the goodness and doing it right. So, and yeah, Cecily's saying she collects under a mature self-sown tree. Totally awesome. When you collect, if you have deeper leaf litter and it's more, more duff and stuff under, those are even better. And try to get broad leaves like, for me here, mangoes, avocados, kukui, what else? I collect under bananas, bamboo, all those things are great. Yeah, so, okay. Oh, yeah, so the Living Man is saying that these woods here are victims to chemical spills about 10 years ago. Tons of just run off. The woods as a whole are dying. Most of the trees are diseased. There are still microbes out there, though, and if you spray maintenance solution spray the maintenance solution, like go out there for a week into that area and spray it 3 times, so do it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then set your collection box on Sunday. And then you'll have a week of this treatment to strengthen your microbes in that zone, and then you'll have even better collection. So, boost them up, give them a little help if they're dying and they're really been abused from a chemical spill and all that. I mean, newsflash, the whole world is right now a chemical spill. Like it's in the air, it's coming down, all the forests everywhere are dying, stressed. I've had random trees that are like weed trees die. It's just like, oh, we're really in the apocalypse end times. I mean, not gonna lie. But on our farm, I should get a drone shot up there because everything's cranking, man. We're using the KNF. We're putting out fish. We're putting the lactobacillus. We're putting out the maintenance spray. Things are just doing pretty good here. So, it takes a lot to do it right, but it works. So let's see here. Okay, so and my building is coming really well, actually. I'm just working on the fascia. We got it framed, got everything. We ended up putting one bent post in the center, and then it skewed the whole building. I really should have not put a bent post because I'm not good enough of a carpenter to fix a huge bow in it. But I snapped a line across, got all the rafters cut square and everything, and it's pretty darn square. I'd say it's maybe between a half and a quarter inch out on the whole building, and it's that's pretty good for amateur building and getting it up, and it's come along really nice. I mean, it looks nice. Doing good work on it, and building it with my dad. So the building's come along really well. I'll take a photo of it for next week because I don't have one right now. And speaking of community, what happened to the Institute of Natural Farming channel? It's Logan. And let's see what Brethren Logan's up to. Let me see. I'm just going to look it up. Institute of Natural Farming. Brethren Logan, he's right here. He's right here. So Institute of Natural Farming, if you're saying what happened to it, it's not there, it's right here. I'll just put it I'll put that in the chat. It's here. Maybe it's because I'm a subscriber and I can find it. I don't know. But yeah, here's even an episode with me, man. He came over to our farm, and Brethren Logan came over and took the course and learned and drove all the way over from Kona each day to take the class and learned all about it. And now he's, he was teaching Kona side, the Institute of Natural Farming. I think, 2020 was hard on him of just shutting things down and people being wild and crazy, but he's out there. He's doing his best, man. So yeah, and Brendan, to answer your question here, you're talking about doing Janam microbe solution, what I call disgustingly cheap microbes, and IMO 4. Yes, both those are going to be great. They're going to change your pasture biology. So the JMS is not going to do it alone. I'm sad to say. I mean, it's quick, it's dirty, it's easy, but it's not as powerful. The whole key of what you're trying to accomplish down there is where I'm going to pull up this book here, which is my book. It's knfsupport.com. You can grab it, download the same ebook right here. But what you're trying to accomplish is right here, where taking, I just scrolled past. That was right at the right spot. I was trying to actually do this. Make it right like that. Okay, so what you're trying to do is that in this zone here, and let me zoom in just a bit here, see if I can really get this centered here. How about scroll over? Scroll. Right here. Right there. Okay, so fireweeds and stuff are growing over here where it's been disturbed, and there's only bacteria and the fungus is gone, right? And so as you bring in more fungus, which is what IMOs do, is they bring back your fungal hyphae and your fungal culture, because you're culturing these things and you're growing them out and you're giving this conditions in your IMO 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're constantly selecting for more diversity and fungal growth. You could also almost call it forest fungal microbes. That then you put this out, and then what happens is the fireweed and the thistle and stuff wants to grow in this area, like these weeds, this side of the thing where it's bacteria and not much fungus. As you increase the fungus, what happens here is that the nitrogen cycle slows down, and the fertilization that happens that those pests desire, fungus slows down how quickly nitrogen's cycling, and it slows down how all that happens. And so then only perennials and things that have this slower, more, talk about difficulty at the beginning, things that can persevere and push through and find this richer soil start to take over. And then in the forest, the nitrogen cycle is really slow. And the carbon cycle's also slowed down because leaves are starting to accumulate. You're getting this deep duff layer. You're starting to get these humus formations in your soil. You're starting to get really deep, rich soil. You can see under this graphic the soil growing here. This is what's happening. So it's not just like, magic. It's as you put the fungus in there, the nitrogen cycle slows down. And so then thistle and things that want to grow on this thing where it's turning over real fast, the nitrogen is growing, it's flowering, it's dying, it's growing, it's flowering, it's dying, are going to want to slow down. And your grass that's more deep rooted, that's handling more of this, becoming stronger, better roots, it's starting to thrive over here. So as you increase the fungus, it's really all about the fungus. The bacteria does what bacteria does, and it just does it. But the fungus, you get it in, notice how it's climbing to the right. And as you get more of this fungus in, your plants change. And that's the whole deal. And then bugs will start to attack that thistle, and it will wither away, and it just won't have the nutrients it needs to grow. And your grasses still will, because they can thrive here in your annual and perennial type of grasses that grow each year where you're at. So that's the whole theory. That's actually what's happening. That's the way it works. And JMS is not going to get you there, because JMS is actually fairly bacterial. And it's not to say that bacteria doesn't go in the ground and then breed more fungus and grow more fungus, but it tends to be more bacterially oriented and not have the same fungus. That's why IMO 4 is in a league of its own and is worth the effort to do, because it is heavily going to increase your fungus. Especially you put it in, you feed it, you put char down, you put humic acids, you encourage this to grow, you mulch with wood chips if you can, you feed it fungal foods, all of a sudden it becomes fungally oriented. So You can also make a tea out of it to spray huge, large areas, which is highly recommended. And that's the difference between JMS and IMO4. But JMS will also help to like penetrate and make holes, and as the bacteria die off, they'll feed more fungus. So getting more biology out there is always a good thing. So they're working tandem, but JMS is not going to get you there. It will get you close, but not there, right? It's like elementary school. You still need to go to high school, preferably college, preferably, an internship, work training, an apprenticeship, learn on the job. The more education you can get, that's what IMO4 is. It's those extra steps of, one is just like, okay, we got a bunch of infants and we gave them swords, go fight. And it's like, well, they're probably not going to do as well as a well-trained, well-disciplined unit of folks that can love the earth properly, right? So anyway, and if I would I bother with JMS if I got IMO for brewing? Yeah, JMS is so simple, so easy, so cheap. If you got both, use both. But JMS, it has its place. It's like the pop music, right? It's not some composed symphony. Am I planning on doing online classes ever? I've done online classes, and it's okay. I've done it where people have tuned in to, I've basically put YouTube live on when I'm doing the classes here, and people have tuned in and streamed. But it's really more of my teaching is about the tactile stuff. If you want, you want to do a class online, just look at my YouTube channel. There's classes out there. There's tons of them. And they're there. It's just what I offer here is like integration, and I just can't do that through the internet. Like there's a limitation, you can't taste, smell, see, experience, feel, like get this like mana power, like understanding of like what you're doing. It's like the internet can do it. Like I can answer your questions here. If you want to self-train and do this, come here. It's every Sunday office hours, man. So what I'm here to do is to answer questions and do these things. But the reason I offer training here in person and not just like online training is that you really need in-person training for Korean natural farming. It's hard. It's sure you can do it. You can learn through the internet. There's all kinds of free resources out there. But yeah. But I also don't want to ignore the fact that it's hard for people to get here, right? And I don't. It's not like I'm saying like, whatever. We used to do scholarships, but we haven't been doing those lately because the return on the scholarships and stuff, it's been kind of weird. People haven't really appreciated it. It's something like when you pay for it and you get here and you experience it and you do it, it's something you remember for your life, and you really have this like caring, like, it's life changing. I'm not gonna lie. I ever talk to anyone who's been here and they're like, are you the same person? They're like, no, man, I'm much better off. Not that I'm going to speak for them. You can, Thomas can tell you, bunch of folks that have been here can tell you, it's just like, that's, I was just hanging out with Moose, the guy here. Let's see here. He's on this picture right here. Right here, I just went over to Moose. This is Moose and Mimi right here in the front with this KNF heart. I just went over to their wedding, and we were just talking, and it was actually kind of an amazing thing. I show up on the Kona side at the beach to go to their wedding, and they're natural farmers. They've been farming Ava this way, and now Mimi's doing a CSA market garden. So she's farming all kinds of vegetable crops and things and using KNF, and they've been able to eliminate all their disease and greatly increase their fertility. And, people that have been farming Ava, which is Hawaiian, kava, Hawaiian kava, come over to their place and they're like, wow, how do you not have disease? How are your plants this healthy? And it's, Moose is out there making the solutions, spraying them, doing it. And I went to their wedding, and as I'm driving down to the beach, Carlos, one of my good friends that took a KNF class with me, he's like, what's up, Drake? And I didn't even see him because it was light and the headlights were coming in my eyes, and I was like, it was late at night, and I was like almost blinded, and I was like, and I couldn't even see him. And Susan's like, oh, it's Carlos. And I was like, what's up, Carlos? He's been doing amazing farming. He went up to Oregon and was using KNF on a huge commercial hemp farm and took these skills out there. And then I get to the beach, and then at the wedding party, there's this guy, Sonny, from Punicide, and he was like, "Hey man, I took your class at Hawaiian Sanctuary. I loved it. You know, it's changed my life. Me and my wife, we're always doing this stuff. It's, you know, we grow so much better crops." And then I suggested he plant some cassava and get that going and get that together. And then what do you go like then two other people, you know, new natural farming, and then my friend Kaika, who I haven't seen, where if you go look at the training here and go to my channel and you look up down here, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit, but it's under Korean natural farming. Let's see, in Hawaii. Which one is it? Oh man, this is so hard. There's so much information. It's so hard to organize. Let's see. Yeah, Hawaii Demo Farms 2017. These demo farms. Here, you go to this playlist. Is this the one? I'm not sure this is the one. Where's the playlist? It's down here. No, it's not this one. Darn. But, oh, Hawaii Field Days. It's this one. This was 2018. This was the last time Master Cho was here. But here you can see Kaika on this here coming down. Let's see, this playlist only has 4. Which one was it? This one. Yeah, this one here. Does Master Cho take the soil no, that's not Kaika. But this is us down there, and you can see him like heckling Kaika for stuff that this other guy did. And did, you know, he was trying to like take over the natural farming organization for a while, and he wasn't even here on this tour. And where is it? I don't know. Anyway, it's hard to find things while you're live on this stuff, but Master Cho was like heckling Kaika as if she did all this wrong stuff, and it's like, no, she just came back to the movement. She's been integral in helping it grow. And we had this whole, you know, Master Cho came to Hawaii, and this is an interesting episode here of, you know, talking about potted plants and these little things out here that are just, you know, suffering to heck. But it's really, if you're growing potted plants and you want to hear, you know, Master Cho talking about these things.
For babies who are not growing well, you'll benefit from the first lane after the Are you married?
No.
He's talking about eating. No, there's Kaika right there, right behind him. Yeah. And so they're talking about, you know, purslane FPJ to help the little babies and all that stuff, and just, you know, I mean, it's great. So anyway, if you want to really learn online, man, there's tons of stuff. Go watch, you know, get a PhD by watching all the content on my YouTube channel. Like, you know, comment on each one and be like, I watched it. And then, you know, shoot, man, that's worth more than, you know, I mean, besides coming here, learning, seeing, doing, right? It's, if you're going to do it online, man, check out and watch the things where Master Cho is doing it. So, you know, the thing right there, click on the channel, you know, go to my channel, search, find, you know, whatever, like, look, there's tons of things there to learn. So anyway, getting off on that tangent, but, okay, let's see. Are there other questions? I don't really want to scroll up too much, but okay. Yeah, it's good. You guys are so good in the chat too, answering these questions, getting these things together. Someone wants to be like me when you grow up. Man, watch out, man. You're gonna start programming robots and staying up way too late at night and farming and building and doing all this. Yeah, and Julia's saying one guy did a collection in Paris, right? All is possible, right? I bet you. I wonder if they had biddies. You know, if those, yeah, there's microbes everywhere. Okay. Oh, that cheeky tab. Ooh. Okay. I try to avoid collection in my woods. Oh yeah. Anyway, we have honey mushrooms. They're really bad, and they attack the trees and plants and return the land to meadows. Okay. If you got parasitic, oh, okay. So stonemason avoids collecting in his woods because he got parasitic mushrooms that are going the opposite way. Interesting on that. I don't have much experience with that here because we don't have those same things, but interesting. I would imagine they would be outcompeted, though. I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe just avoid it, yeah. And then HJS Divine Hands is asking, I heard when using FAA, I should use a little bit of urea. Any thoughts? FAA has tons of, amino acids, and that's really what you're after. Also the enzymes, the proteins, these things, these combos of what's in there. I don't know if you should use a little bit of urea. My thoughts on that are that, Master Cho in his older books did talk about human waste, and it's kind of forbidden to talk about, and you can't really talk about it, but let me pull it up here and see if I can find it. I always try to find these things while I'm live with you guys, and it's like then my attention's split between keeping it going and looking for things and trying to be a good host and trying to do all this. So some super chats would make it easier. No, I just anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. That's it's good. Let's see here. Where am I going? Documents, into these files, into the books, into where's the book? The one I'm looking for. This one. And pull it up over here, and I'll just show you guys, scroll through this book. But this book, if you can get a hold of this book, man, this is a good one. Comes in multiple colors. But if you look at the table of contents, which are non-existent, no table of contents. Yep. Oh, there they are. No, that's just a list of abbreviations. Table of contents, there we go. So looking at this, mixed compost. Here it is, number 9, human excrement liquid fertilizer. Sounds pretty awesome, huh? Let's go see, scroll down. It's gonna be right before the BMW. I think those are way down here though. So treatment, crops. Oh man, it's hard to find this on the internet right now. Livestock, no. Let's see, hang on. Give me 1 sec, see if I can find it. And if you screenshot these, oh, there you go. You got the book. Okay, so let's see here. Natural minerals. Oh, there's the BMWs talking about it. No, that's fish. Seawater. 13. It was number 9, right? Oh, here's the BMWs talking about. But here. Phosphorus. Oh, here it is. And let me blow it up big. And slide it over, and here it is. What is human liquid fertilizer? The particular liquid fertilizer is made from fermented human excrement. Human excrement is an outstanding fertilizer rich in nutrients compared to animal excrements. Human bowel is utilized in farms for some time ago. However, it is rare today due to problems including parasites, which, that is a valid concern. If human bowels are used by itself, the biggest problem is the concentration. Human excrement are very strong and the crops are poisoned by them. In other words, they provide excessive nitrogen. So again, you're using urea, excessive nitrogen, be careful. The excrements also do not ferment well. They rather corrode, or it's an interesting translation, but I think it's also putrefy. You can fix this problem by fermentation. Fermentation rids parasites, and converts indigestible substances into digestible ones. By using dilution, there is no problem of concentration. Amazing. 30 to 40 years ago, all orchard farms used human excrements, and they produced excellent fruit. Yep. That's, look at this shitty pear. Ooh. New human feces are a big waste and pollutant. Instead of spending money for expensive fertilizers, should look back at converting waste into resources, right? Where you can download this book, you have to tune into the office hours and see it. because I'm just showing this for educational purposes. So how to make it: dig a pit in the ground with adequate width and depth. Inside a greenhouse is good because the higher temperature accelerates the process. Sun and shade are both okay. Spread a large plastic sheet on the floor and walls of the pit. Put the crap in the pit. Add water, half the weight of the excrement. For example, 600 kilos of excrement, you'd add 300 kilos of water. Currently, the height of the ingredients should fill 1/3 of the pit. Then add 60 kilograms of fermentation starters. For starters, use yeast cultivated on rice bran. And I think this is, he's saying that this is like, using this example. After 4 to 5 days, fermentation will be complete. The smaller the air bubbles, the better the quality. Use a stick, or if you're really bold, your hand, to stir the material once in a while to promote fermentation. In fact, don't use your hand. It's bad advice. After fermentation, fill the hole with water, which is, 1,800 kilos. It will take more than 1 week to mature. After maturity, the liquid will be dark brown and the unfermented solids will surface. Okay, so interesting there. And so how to use it: dilute it 30 to 50 times before use. Spray on soil and leaves. Avoid, getting it on you or anything near you. Results are better when used with IMO or fish amino acids. So they are saying to use excrement with fish amino. So if you're onto the urea, maybe you're onto the excrement thing. I don't know. Anyway, human liquid fertilizer contains a lot of phosphoric acid. Use it accordingly. It also has minerals and salts that are good for crops. And then here's Mr. Yang showing off his poop. It's HLF device, and it's the secret to the best quality oranges. Do you think he tells his customers, "You liking that orange?" and he just like winks at them? Right? No, anyway, we're so weird about it today, but this is like the classic fertilizer, right? So human liquid fertilizer, that's where it's at, right? And it's fermented, so the diseases, like it said, the parasites are gone, the other stuff floats to the top, they get rid of it, they're just using the liquid. It's a super viable way to do things, especially if you don't have any money and you're here. Use the human excrement liquid fertilizer. Although I do believe this like totally lowers your reputation. If you say you're doing this, people are like, they think bad of you. They think like, like all of a sudden the earth became much more flat, right? It's like, you lose reputation of people. Anyway, not to go into that, but just do be careful. And I guarantee, like, if you told someone you're doing this, they're going to have all kinds of problems. And, so just if you're doing it, keep it secret, keep it safe. So anyway, that we'll get into that with the, that was just to answer the urea question. Master Cho does apparently advocate that, right? And I'm not sure if that's just poops or it's poops and peas. That orange got a little bit of me in it. Yeah. Well, is your stuff in your stomach part of you? I don't know, because it's like this tube, right? It's kind of, you're like a torus, right? It's on the inside and the outside. It's like, is it really in me? It's hard to know. It depends on how you look at it, I guess, and what mathematical arrangement you use. If you did use a, Cartesian Descartes method, maybe it is in you. All right, so George, what's up, George? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. He said he started making vinegar. A few questions. Number one, is a paper towel enough to cover the jar? Yes. If there's funk forming on top, is it okay or should I dump it? The funk forming on top is like scobies, and it's great. Vinegar has gross stuff that grows on top. It's fine. Let it go till it turns to vinegar. It's going to ferment underneath and do its thing. It's fine. So paper towel is good, and having funky on top, no worries. Keep it. Usually I do it in a container where I can't see because sunlight affects the vinegar. So trying to keep it, shaded is a good thing. And, and to make a good vinegar, try to avoid lots of temperature fluctuation. In Japan, when they make really, really, really like prize-winning vinegar, they bury it in the ground so that the temperature doesn't fluctuate as much. And they're known worldwide for their great vinegar. So some considerations to think of. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's awesome. And it's changing people's lives even through the internet. Thank you, Cecily. Good to hear from you. And if you really want this book, I know how I can get it to you. It's great. And yeah, learning everything online, making mistakes. They're good. Yeah, scobies. Yeah, scobies are great, and they're good. Okay, so what I wanted to do, got through most of that, and it's great. Glad to share with you guys. I wanted to pull up one thing here, and I was talking about it last week, and I uploaded it this week, and it's this presentation right here. And just wanted to share a little bit of this with you, because this presentation is like a hammer here. Oh, it looks like it's too large to preview, so I have to download it. And they can't scan it for viruses, so we'll have to just trust that it's a file that I'll upload it, and then it's not loaded with viruses. And if it is, I gotta ferment it a bit, and or, whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna open this PowerPoint. It is, if you look over here, it's opening. Check that out. Oh, it's opening. Oh, it's gonna open. Is it? You would think for this Max Studio here, where did it even go? Okay, it opened. Did it open? I don't see it. Where'd it go? Where's my keynote at? Oh, there it is. It opened on this window. You would think for like the fastest computer available, it would load a bit faster, but let's pull this out and make it as big as we can for you guys and look through this and see. So this is the presentation I was talking about last week, where this is one of the major ones. Like, look how many, there's 291 slides in here. And I wanted to show this to you because I was browsing through this and I was like, wow, this is great. And this is when Master Cho comes and talks and lectures, and you can find his lectures on my channel. And there's a thanks button there. So if you really like them, you can hit thanks on those and donate. No one's ever done that before. You could be the first one. Amazing. But the thanks for these, of putting these out, and these things that happen here, of sharing, and Master Cho always talks, he always starts super fundamental, like almost like abstract spiritual is where he starts before he gets into farming. And people are always like, yeah, but what do I put on my oranges? I got this. And they're like, look, man, you gotta get in. You gotta understand there's 3 vital forces, right? Heat, air, water. You gotta understand there's 2 heats, one from above, one from below, right? You gotta understand there's 4 bodies here. There's heaven, earth, and then there's the air, and there's the object, right? And all these things come together, and then there's 3 kingdoms, plant, animal, and fungi. And they all work together. And once you start to understand this, and you understand it at this fundamental level, a lot of your, it's always start with the basics, right? We want to jump in. What's the solution, right? But it's this difficulty at the beginning. It's pushing the grass up under the grass through an obstacle, right? It's this, when you understand these things here, that it all starts with the 3 vital forces that then create the 2 heats of the earth, that then give reign to the 4 bodies that all intermingle, and then give rise to the 3 kingdoms of animals that all work together. And once you understand all of this, now you're like, oh, now I got the fundamentals. Now I got the basics. Now I can understand, like, oh, you're thinking, I got this problem. Well, is it too much heat from the ground, from above? Like, where are you going? What are you doing? So he always starts with these basics. And then he talks about air, right? Air is, you're breathing it all the time. So are plants, right? There's tons of nitrogen in it. There's a little oxygen. There's some argon that we had a real hard time detecting. There's carbon, there's hydrogen, right? In the air, right? All this is in the air, floating around, right? And so where am I going to get all my nitrogen? Well, out of the dang air, man. And the oxygen, getting airflow. This is why airflow is so important, right? Getting these things in. And then he goes into, where does your water come from, right? Because first you got air. If you don't breathe, you're dead. Then if you don't drink water, you're dead. That's like 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks without, without air for 3 minutes, you're dead. Without water for 3 days, you're dead. Without water for 3 weeks, or without food for 3 weeks, you're dead, right? So he talks about water, and then where the natural fertilizer comes from, right? So air, water, food, right? He starts with the most basics, the most fundamental, the most important things. And he talks about rainwater, water flowing on the surface, and spring water coming up from the ground. And then he also talks about microorganisms and a small animal that is 80 to 85% moisture and acts as a reservoir. So when people are thinking, oh, my ground's drying out, I'm in a drought, what do? I don't have enough water. Well, if you increase the biology in your soil, you're going to have these tiny, tiny, tiny mini reservoirs that are always growing, dying, recycling this water, coming out, and the earth remoistens, rehydrates, comes back to life. That's why if you take your hand and dig into a nice forest, it's going to be moist versus you go someplace where it's barren and you dig your hand out and it's just dry and crumbly, right? And if it rains, it's like it didn't have to rain recently and the forest floor is still moist. Why is it moist? Well, even if I go and I breathe out, my hand gets a little moist, right? All these microbes respirating, putting out moisture, holding bodies of water in themselves are moisture, right? This is the whole key for what our earth needs today is more biology. 80 to 85% moisture in the soil, these reservoirs. This is the Korean natural farming. This is the stuff we need to put into the ground, right? And then the natural supply of fertilizer, right? He already talked about the heavenly fertilizer, which is the air, which is on this previous slide, right? All this fertilizer is in the air, right? Carbon, argon, nitrogen, all this is in the air, right? So the heaven fertilizer is in the air. Then you got the surface fertilizer, which is like organic matter, right? The leaves, those are all breaking down. They have, carbons, all kinds of good nutrients that were in the leaves that are falling, that are decaying. And then underground, you have the ground fertilizer, right? These are like your rock minerals, like your phosphates and borons and these types of things that come from your ground, right? And those are the micronutrients the microbes can pull in from further away. So you have all three of these different fertilizers working together to supply a natural forest, right? Coming out of the air, plenty of nitrogen to grow, get big. It starts the cycle as the succession happens from grasslands up to forest, up, building, builds more organic matter. And then as those fungal networks expand, they're finding more ground minerals, right? So this is like the natural basics of how it all works, coming from the ground, getting it in there, bringing it in. And then you have, the microorganisms and small animals. Again, what are the benefit of the microbes? Well, they consist of carbon, where they're like 70% carbon. So it's like, oh, well, my plant needs carbon to grow. And I'm, deficient in humus and all. It's like, well, the microbes, man, it's all in there. They have nitrogen. And when that nitrogen comes out, it's actually like bioavailable. So as these microbes die off and as nematodes eat them and they poop them right in the rhizome, which is the root zone, right? They poop it right next to your roots. It's absorbable. That little bit of water comes in, the plant absorbs it. It now cycles, right? They're like opening bags of fertilizer for you right where you need them. And, and so per hectare, there's this much of a fertilizer factory living under your ground, right? It's just there. It's happening. It's doing its thing. And this is what we got to tap into, right? This is where it's like, hey, I think I need all this external amendment, right? And all this. It's no, just kickstart your natural system. Get it going. Bring the water back. Bring the rain. Get the ground, all the surface, the fertilizer, the air. Like Earth is designed to be fertile, right? It is. And so this is the tapping in, tuning into this. And then, then he's talking about his livestock here. And this is something we also try to avoid in our I would say sometimes let me just read it. It says, once a full stomach, once an empty stomach, right? And so if you think to yourself, oh, I always got to keep my plant full and always have it nutrient and always have it like juice to the max of all this stuff in there. It says once a full stomach, once an empty stomach. So that it goes through this cycle of that your plant is full and then it's empty and it's full and it's empty and it's full and it's empty. And it goes through these waves just like yin yang, right? And this is how, things uptake more things. Thanks, Stonemason. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. It's always good. It's always good to get extra. It's like a tip. It's like, oh, man, I really, then I can build better things and buy better tools. I just bought a 40-foot tape measure. It cost me $43. It's like, oh my gosh. So I appreciate it. Any money that comes to me helps me build the farm better. I appreciate it. So anyway, but this is the whole thing of going yin yang, up and down, right? The more, once a full stomach, once an empty stomach, having your garden, you don't always want to have it so much food out there that it never gets hungry, right? You gotta have your plant get hungry and then full, hungry and full, just like the seasons come through, just like nutrients come at different times. We always try to like over amend typically. But this is the way. So he says, no base manure, right? Like, so application, it's like you don't put your plant into something that's already been amended like perfectly. It's like you put it in and then you're adding the food as it grows so it can have that empty and full stomach, right? You're not putting a baby in, feeding it like a 5-course meal to a baby. You're feeding it just what it needs, just that milk. So don't like pre-amend your bed and try to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do all this. It's like as your plant's growing, you amend it as it's growing, and you can grow better plants as they reach and as they're ready for it. Right nutrient, right time, right amount, right? And as they grow and they get the right stuff, they'll find it. And that's the observing the principle of an empty and then full stomach, that if you're hungry and then you get nourished, your body has so much more ability to pull out the nutrients and to like nourish and to actually put it into your body. And same with plants, same with animals, right? And and then again, he also puts this into like feeding his livestock only one time a day, right? So it applies to plants, but it also applies to animals. And I don't know what he means by pen's length as stereotype. That's kind of an interesting comment there. But Master Cho also goes into, faith and religion, and he believes so much in the higher power and bringing this in. What's up, Saudi Arabia? And can IMO be collected in your area? I'll jump over here just one sec, because the Saudi Arabia question, man, if you can go get this stuff spread in Saudi Arabia, it's awesome. I have some friends up in Israel, which is just above you guys. And let me see, microbialsecret.org. And this is a podcast that I did and would love to continue, but man, I got so much going on. Here it is. And if you go, Naji, if you go here and you search for these episodes, episode 32, under episodes 32 and, where's the other one? Well, anyway, if you go to micro celebrities and you go to Sam Bevans, here's Sam Bevans. You can see 32 and 24. These are both about farming in the desert in your region. And you can get the first half hour or first hour of these free. And then if you want to get the second hour, you got to actually subscribe to the thing. So, but these talk about exactly farming in the desert. And it's like, I've talked about it actually a fair amount. You can go search the office hours at KNF support and search for office hour, click on the office hour. Since we're getting to the end of the episode, I may as well just go show you, if you go to KNF support here, knfsupport.com, go to office hours here, and then I search down here in this search bar, and I search for desert, then I can find these episodes where I have talked about farming in the desert, because it's a common topic that comes up because there's more and more. But all of these episodes, I've talked about it, and you can see the time here correlates to when it was talked about in the episode itself. Right here, it's like, how do we collect IMOs in the desert? Well, at minute 11 here on this episode of December 5th, 2021, you can find that. So that's how to search the office hours. I've talked about it a whole bunch. And then Smoke 40 is asking, is there a list of which fermented fruit juice or which fermented plant juice the KNF Foods has which nutrients? And you can just Google those things. So, and I hate to mention Google, you can DuckDuckGo them. But basically, if I was wanting to look and I wanted to say, broccoli nutrients, it would just tell me, like right here, nutritionfacts.org. Let's see, nutrition facts here, right? And just pull this up. And it's going to show me, it has vitamin C, it has fibers, sugars, where's the breakdown? is it? I don't know. But, the internet's your friend of just, here's nutrition facts from the USDA, right? And so you can look up and you can see it has potassium, vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, calcium, vitamin D. You can just like look it up and see, what's in each plant. And that's a general use. You can also know like this, if it has these properties, it has these things. So, but it's like, is there a list? You might also want to check out what, Steve Dredd is doing. I think it's growing with fishes. And if you check out Ponics is the name of his website. And he has this open nutrient project here. So if you look these up, like what has open nutrient project, what has cobalt, right? I'll click on this. And here are plants under the Latin name with cobalt in them, right? And so if you're looking for, Shisandra, awesome. I love Omija. All these plants have cobalt in them, and he'll tell you how much, so open nutrient project, if you're looking for that. So if that helped you, you might want to super chat some money back, but, if it didn't help you, whatever. But also support Steve Dredd and all his stuff. So here it is. This here open nutrient project. Steve Dredd doing a whole bunch of good for the world. But yeah, he's into these things and concentrating these. I always just think that, if you make a good plant juice, you're going to get a balanced thing, and trying to concentrate one thing versus another, it's like, but here's his min-max values for all these plants. Like, look at this, if you were to look up potassium, right? It's like, oh my gosh, there's so much. And then he talks about, like what's in this plant specifically, right? And it's all linked to the USDA. Apparently it's USDA data that he's just aggregating and putting there. But, here it is, right? They've studied this, and, is it true? I don't know. It all depends on how it's grown. The more you do natural farming, the more you feed it in, the better you're going to get. So that's how I do it. But I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in here, taking your Sunday, Monday, whatever day it is, whatever day you watch this later, for tuning in, doing natural farming. Again, remember, if you want to come out for a class here, knffarm.com. I'd appreciate it. Would love to see you. If you're really into learning, you want to learn, you want to be here, you want to do it. Try to get into amazing stuff. Next week I'm going to continue with this presentation, go further into it, because I just think that having me present in English for my studies of it is going to be decent. So I'll continue to go into that as just like I'm going to continue to go through all 291 slides of that, so I can go through and to be there. And, figure a GoFundMe, man. Get some other folks to help you, so that when you come back, you can help teach them. If you got the time and you're just missing the money, man, crowdsource a little bit. I've crowdsourced before to go to Korea a few times. Some great people help me out. There's great people that learn Korean natural farming. There's great foundations out there. It's like this stuff, don't feel like you got to do it all alone. Reach out, get your community to support you, to come here to learn, so you can come back and start this where you're at and grow, and already have a community of people that are like ready to learn from you when you come back and share. I mean, just consider that as a thought. It's airfare right now is pretty cheap and all this, and maybe even ask here in the chat, see if people, post a GoFundMe and during the office hour, ask people that, hey, I'm interested. See, there's a lot of generous people out there that really want to see good happen in the world. You're probably one of them, and you're in a community of them. And so I just want to appreciate you for taking your time, energy, money, everything, being part of this and helping out. And again, I'll see you next Sunday, 9 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. And I appreciate it. Long live the natural farmer. Aloha. Love you all. Have a great week. Bye now.